welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmine. For those who are new, I'm a casual reseller on the US and Canadian Poshmark app as well as eBay. Today's video is a quick story time of what I experienced on one of my eBay sales recently, and I'll also talk about the process of opening up a claim with a third-party shipping company such as Stallion Express. If you like reselling content like this, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. So it all started when I guess my husband, he had been collecting a bunch of these Funko Pops and he decided that he no longer wanted them anymore. So I decided to just list them all on eBay. A couple of them have sold already and they sold relatively quickly. I'll put a picture of it here somewhere just so you know what it looks like. It was brand new in the box. I've never opened it before. And the buyer had submitted an offer and I accepted it. It was kind of weird because after I accepted his offer, he asked a question regarding, I guess, the condition of the box and the plastic covering. You'd think that most buyers would ask a question before submitting an offer, so I found that was kind of strange. But this guy had a lot of positive feedback. He had, I think, more than 1,000 feedback and like more than 95% positive on eBay. So there were no really red flags in that perspective, but just the fact that he had asked the question after submitting an offer, I just found that a little bit weird. But anyways, everything was fine. I sent him pictures through the eBay messaging system after he had asked the question. So I just took pictures of the box and told him it was like 9.5 out of 10 in quality. And he paid and I shipped it out. So because he was from the States, I've talked about this many times before, but if you are shipping on eBay, it's a good idea if you use a third-party shipping company, like besides Canada Post, to ship your items because the rates are way cheaper. So I personally use Stallion Express, and sometimes I use Chit Chats because sometimes the rates are cheaper. So I just compare which rate is the cheapest for me, and Stallion Express was in this case. So everything was fine. I packed my item. I used like bubble wrap around it and I put it in a box, shipped my item as normal. And if you didn't know, sometimes for Stallion Express, and I'm sure for a lot of third-party shipping companies, you have to pay an additional fee for, I guess, insurance. And usually I do include insurance unless it's something that's like $10. And if I don't really care if the item gets lost, then I just disregard it. But for the most part, I do pay for insurance. This item sold for $37 US, including shipping. So I'm not sure what the conversion rates are, but that's the money that I took in afterwards. So after the buyer had received the item, he messaged me saying that the box was completely ruined and he wanted a full refund and to return the item. He also said that he would include pictures of the damage. So he didn't actually include pictures in that initial message that he sent me. So I just replied and said, sorry about that. Can you include pictures, and also was the box damaged as well? Because I wanted to know if it was either like my packaging wasn't sufficient, even though I did use bubble wrap and everything, or if it's because like the box was completely like smushed to bits, and then obviously the item would get damaged as well. So he never responded to that message, and he basically just opened up a claim through eBay saying that that he wanted to return the item because it didn't match the description. So if you didn't know, on eBay, on each listing, or I guess in your settings, one or the other, you can choose whether or not you accept or don't accept returns. So I currently don't accept returns, but eBay has a policy of 100% guarantee of what you're purchasing, and if the item doesn't match the description, then you'll get your full refund. So in this situation, he had opened up the return case. He included the pictures of the box. He didn't show pictures of the packaging though, which is kind of important, which I'll get into later. But I could clearly see that the box of the Funko Pop had been damaged. It had a lot of indents to it. Obviously, if you didn't care about the box, it wouldn't matter because I think the figurine was still okay. But I'm assuming that he's collecting these things just like my husband was, so obviously the box is important as well. So after a buyer opens up a claim against you and wants to return the item, I believe you have 3 or 4 days to respond, either refunding them or getting them to ship the item back, and I think you release the funds after you get the item back. but I responded right away and I gave them the refund. So the next step on my part, because the item was damaged through the shipping service, I had to go onto Stallion Express. So I'm pretty sure like websites like ChitChats have this as well to open up a claim. USPS has this as well. I'm sure Canada Post has it as well, because I think all shipping services has some sort of insurance that is included in your fee, or you need to pay an additional fee to include this insurance. So because I shipped this through Stallion Express, if you go on their main page or through your phone, on the dashboard section on the very bottom, there is a section where you can submit claims. So in this section, I have to include what the item was. I believe it's the shipment ID, what the item was inside, how much money I had to pay for the item, and including shipping. Include a picture of the item as well as the invoice of the transaction. One thing to note that through this claim process, it only allows you to upload one picture. So if you need to include multiple pictures of the damage, you have to directly email them. So I submitted that process and it took about 6 days for them to actually respond. And they responded through an email. They just said to include additional pictures, and to also include pictures of the damaged packaging or how the item was packaged when the buyer received it. So unfortunately, I didn't have any of those pictures, and since it had been 6 days since this all happened, I'm pretty sure the buyer no longer had the packaging anymore. So I just said, unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of the packaging when the buyer received it, but I can include these additional pictures. If you do have any claims through eBay because of a shipping process, it's important for you to ask the buyer to take pictures of the packaging as well to make sure that you can include that in any claims that you need to make. So fortunately, Stallion said that that was no problem, but for future claims, if I could please include pictures of the packaging as well, because it really shows whether or not it had been damaged through the shipping process, or if your packaging was just not good enough and not sufficient enough to keep that item secure. Stallion ended up refunding me the total amount. They had refunded me, I think, a little bit more, like $50 something. So I think they actually refunded me the total that I got through the sale, so $37 US, plus the fee that I had to pay for the shipping through their website. When I had refunded the buyer, I did message him saying that there's no need to ship the item back because it was my husband's anyways, and as long as I received my money back through the insurance claim, which I didn't really care what happened to the item. On the other hand, if I did want my item back, I guess myself as the seller and the buyer would have to communicate to see like who would pay for shipping, because the buyer would be paying like out of pocket to ship the item back to me. So I'm pretty sure, like as a seller, I would have to pay for him to ship it back to me, because as a buyer, it's not really worth it for him to ship it back because he's losing out on that money. So he didn't get what he paid for and he has to pay for me to get it back. So that doesn't really make sense. So I'm pretty sure as the seller, I would have to pay for the postage for him to ship it back to me. But because I didn't want the item back, I kind of avoided all of that hassle and headache that might come from it. So yeah, the claims process through Stallion, and I'm sure it's the same for opening up any other insurance claims for shipping your items that might have been damaged, was pretty easy. It took a while. Like I find that 6 days is kind of a long time to get some sort of response, but at least it was a positive one. And for future reference, if you do have any claims against you, it's important that you ask the buyer to send pictures of the packaging as well and any damage coming from the packaging. So that concludes today's video. Hopefully you learned something from this returns claims kind of process that I had to go through, and also learned the importance of the pictures. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!